go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone.
That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives by this point of pale light.
We shall prevail.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility, we copy you on the ground.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Welcome to the Internet Space Program.
GM, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to this week's edition of MoonDAO Live and MoonDAO Town Hall. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today, tuning in, taking the time. If you're watching on socials, do be sure to give it a like, give it a share, engage with the audience. I see some comments coming in on YouTube already. Good to see folks. Hi everyone. There's Jenny Hesterman here. Let's send Frank to space. Yes, Jenny, that is what we want to do. So yeah, we have a special town hall this week. Something a little bit different. We're going to have a conversation between Frank White, the father of the overview effect, and Ron Rosano, who was the 668th human in space on Virgin Galactic Mission 4, which happened, I believe, back in October of 2023. So it should be cool. Frank and Ron are going to be just chatting about Ron's experience in space, the need for the overview effect, and why we need to bring this sort of experience to more people around the world. But before we turn it over to them, I did want to share some updates with the Send Frank to Space fundraiser. So yeah, we're 2 weeks in now. We launched exactly 2 weeks ago. And we have over 60 contributions now, which is really amazing. Huge thanks to everyone who's donated so far, everyone who's helped get the word out on social media. It's making a big difference. Obviously, we're rallying a whole global community to help send Frank to space and have the opportunity to fly alongside Frank. It's a super, super important mission. But beyond that, I mean, we're making really excellent progress here. As you can see now, there's over $140,000 committed to this mission. And we're at 28% of the goal. So part of this is the on-chain fundraiser that are contributions being donated here directly to the raise page, but we also have reflected a significant off-chain commitment that is also dedicated to the mission. So that's where the new large figure comes from. So we're getting pretty close to this new milestone. We added these milestones here just to make it clearer for everyone. 500K for a stratospheric balloon for 2 people. That would be Frank plus 1 person, plus these other stretch goals of 1 million or 2 million for suborbital seats. But yeah, we're at 32 days out. So we've got the first couple weeks down, but we're gearing up here towards the big push towards the end, and hopefully we can far exceed these initial milestones. But there have been some great design changes and pushes our designs being pushed to the contribution page. As you can see here, is a little bit different. We've got just trying to make everything a little smoother here. We've got some new support tiers that are also illuminated here on the page. So as we've shared before, if you donate over $100, you get free citizenship or citizenship at no extra cost for people who are not citizens. Anyone who is not a citizen can obviously contribute to the mission, but you must be a citizen to be eligible to compete to fly alongside Frank. So if you do contribute over $100, you can register as a citizen. We also have a new incentive for those who contribute over $1,000 to get a signed copy of the Overview Effect book signed by Frank, which is really cool, and another larger tier of 10,000 or more to join the Karman Circle to have a kind of private briefing with Frank White and the mission team, and more insider updates at the major milestones. So yeah, we've got new activity section here just implemented, and cool little design changes. So definitely explore the page. You can go to moondao.com/Frank and explore everything there. Also give a little update here on the Fly with Frank portion of it. So if you haven't seen it yet, once you contribute to the mission, you can vote on mission parameters. One of those is helping to determine the candidate pool for that seat to fly alongside Frank. So that will be your first kind of activity as a donor or contributor to the campaign. And as of right now, we have 21 citizens on the leaderboard, and the top 25 citizens will be going on to the multi-stage selection process. So yeah, we've got a couple people with a few backers, but if you're interested in flying alongside Frank, definitely do participate here. Shout out to Andrew Titan Paris and Jabab and Drew Fain for the top 3 kind of slots here. But yeah, you can check it out at moondao.com/overview vote if you want to explore that. So yeah, we're making great progress. 32 days to go. Please do help continue to get the word out. Keep those donations coming. Good to see everyone here in the audience on YouTube. I'll be turning it over here to Frank and Ron. But if you have questions on YouTube or anywhere else, you can leave the comments in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to them by the end of the conversation. But yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from, where you're watching from here on the live stream. So let me take this down and invite Ron and Frank up. Hello, guys. How's it going?
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everyone.
So, Ryan, you ready to turn it over to us, 2 wild and crazy guys, as they say on Saturday Night Live?
Yep, you guys can take it away. I'll turn
right.
it over to you guys. You can steer the show here.
Here we go.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. So I wanted to just make a few comments building on what Ryan said. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who has contributed. I think it's really exciting to see people who are also competing and who want to go with me. That's terrific. And the energy it's just great, Ron. I really think it's terrific. I also want to say Ron has played a big role in working with the 20 plus flown astronauts who are supporting this mission. And I want to, Ron, thank you. You're the man. You're doing a great job with them. And I also, I just want to say this. I am not taking this for granted. A lot of people have said to me over the years, you really deserve to go. Jeff Bezos ought to give you a free ticket, things like that. It's very nice to hear. And, some people go further. Nobody deserves to go more than you. I'm not looking at it that way. I'm working at it. Ron is working at it. We want to earn your commitment to this mission. And so I don't want anybody to think that I'm believing my own press, as they say. We're working on it. But the other thing I want to say, it's about much more than that. It will fulfill a lifelong ambition for yours truly. But what we really want to do is share the overview effect far more widely with the world. The overview effect is a new way of thinking. It's a new way of experiencing life on Earth. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to see that we, as the crew of Spaceship Earth, we're kind of doing a terrible job of being the crew. And the overview effect can help. I really do believe that. So you know, it's a much bigger mission than realizing one person's dream, or even it might be two people, if we can raise enough. And you know, with that, Ron, I'd like to turn it over to you, because I think there's no way to understand the overview effect better than to talk to somebody who's had the experience. And I think it'd be great if you can just talk about your flight, why you wanted to do it, what it was like to do it, what it's been like since then, and what it's like to be a commercial astronaut, a flown astronaut.
Yeah. Yep. Great. Yeah. Thanks, Frank. And thanks everyone for joining, and thanks for the shout out. You know, I'm one of those on the side of the that thinks no one's more deserving to go to space than Frank. So I'm looking forward to getting you there. And you know, one of the things you mentioned, it's like why we're going. Yeah, we're not really going for ourselves. You know, I definitely see any human's journey as a representative of humanity. You know, Rusty Schweickart talked on this after his Apollo 9 flight, and that, you know, he felt that he was a sensor for humanity out there, and it's our duty to report back after we've been, and you know, that's you know, a thinking that I really embrace a lot. So yeah, I never thought I'd have a chance to fly to space. I was always interested in space for as long as I can remember. I was 9 when Apollo 11 landed, and you know, being able to watch, go outside and look at the moon and say, hey, there's 2 people walking around up there right now was, you know, a pretty extraordinary time, especially, you know, when I was in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. And we're approaching that in the next week or 2. We'll be able to see the same thing, and people can go outside and say, hey, there's people flying around the moon right now. And that's really a great thing for humanity to have that awareness of not just people on the moon, but awareness of our planet. And, you know, that's really what, you know, a big part of what the overview effect is all about, is that the realization that we're on this planet together, and it's a unique and incredible existence. I did a lot of thinking in the years ahead of my flight about, you know, what to do during the flight. So I bought a ticket with Virgin Galactic in 2010, and, you know, ended up being able to fly in October 2023. And, you know, during that time, I went through a lot of thinking, including some work with Frank about, like, gee, let's identify, you know, why I'm going. And, you know, Frank in the months or so ahead of the flight helped me through that and say, yeah, you know, Ron, you're going because it's a lifelong dream, and there's an opportunity for you to realize that. And second, it makes the work I do a lot of outreach with students and with the public about spaceflight, so it makes those messages more powerful and more meaningful. And one thing that Frank thought of is, like, we're going for reasons we can't identify. Like, you can't say exactly why you're going, because you can't predict what you're going to get out of it until you're on the other side. So that was an important factor for me. And then in the 2 years plus since, you know, it's just a lot of realizations and revelations about ourselves as a species, you know, thinking that, you know, looking at the photos and seeing this incredibly thin line of atmosphere, this blue band, that protects us from the vacuum of space, and having awareness of that and sharing it has been a really important thing. So yeah, the overview effect, you know, I thought before the flight that, you know, you can't really bring it on yourself. You can't bring it upon yourself. You can't say, okay, I'm going to have the overview effect right now, and then, like, it comes. You just have to be,
Yeah.
The most important thing was really to be open to it, and I was very open to it, and I think it, you know, made a lot of difference for me in a lot of ways.
It's a big challenge in a way, Ron, because, you know, the NASA astronauts, they didn't have a term for what they were experiencing out there, and nobody had given it a name. It's really remarkable. People have been having this experience for 25 years, starting with Yuri Gagarin.
Oh, 60
before, huh?
Yeah, go ahead. 60 years.
Yeah. Before my book came out. the book gave it a name, and then there were 16 interviews in there that gave it some credibility. And over time, people started going out there with the expectation of something happening.
Yeah.
And in an interesting way, the early astronauts had it best because they didn't expect it. They weren't going for that. They were going to beat the Russians, or they might have been going to beat the Americans if they were cosmonauts. They were going for many, many reasons. And even today, NASA astronauts, I don't think it's part of their mission to experience the overview effect. They go to the International Space Station to do experiments and to advance science. And yet NASA realized how important this view was, and they built a cupola. Actually, I've heard tell the cupola wasn't even built for the overview effect. It was built for something else. But anyway, it's turned into a place where astronauts go when they're off from work, and they relax and they do Earth gazing. However, for commercial astronauts, the development of an idea and a theory and all of the things that we're talking about has created a bit of a conundrum, because now people say, I've only got 3 minutes to have this incredible experience. And, you know, to say you have to be open is like saying, don't think of a pink elephant. Well, of course, you're going to think of a pink elephant. When you say you've got to be open, it's almost impossible to do that. But tell me, you managed to do it, do you think? Do you feel like you were able to just be there?
Yeah, I was very focused on those precious 3 minutes and not being distracted. I knew for sure that I wasn't going to like bring things to toss around or try and do a somersault or or things, because I wanted to just take in the most unique parts of the experience, which was just really looking out the window and floating weightless. You know, I did a lot of thinking first about, well, getting transitioning from the thrill of the rocket ride, where you're experiencing 3Gs for a minute and you're going 2,200 miles an hour through the atmosphere, and to instantaneous weightlessness when you want to be quiet and taking in, you know, what's out in front of you. You know, those are two very different states of mind. So I was very focused during the rocket motor burn of just like long, deep breaths and relaxing and not worrying about what the rocket motor was doing or things like that, and just being ready for the Earth to come on stage, you know, and it did. Yeah. So, yeah, in fact, I did do a compilation video. We could watch, I don't know if we'd want to watch a few minutes of that shows the.
Yeah. I'd like to show it, because I find that with explaining this phenomenon, there's really nothing like video.
Yeah.
There's nothing like, and in your particular case, it's not always the case that the moment is captured the way they captured it for you, or the way it was captured for you.
Yeah.
I think showing it would be a great way to share it.
Great. Ryan, do you want to go ahead and play that?
5, 3, 2, 1. Release. Boom, fire.
glasses.
Hello, Moon.
Hold, turn, park.
Unlocking feather.
Copy that. Cleared, cleared, 283. 283.
Hello, Moon.
Roger.
RCS coming on? Amira, tuck your knees. Okay, now look out the window and hold on. I'm gonna look up here.
Welcome to space.
On the bottom window, side window, I see the black earth with the moon.
Apogee.
About 20 more seconds.
Yep, good view. Approaching re-entry. Return to your seats and strap in, please.
Copy. Strap in. Good job, Amira. Get the parachute down. Yeah, just like that. Perfect. A little more. Get one strap.
Whee! I love that video, Ron. I mean, it's just so real, and you're so real. Does it bring back memories?
Oh, every time. I love watching that. Yeah, that was really helpful for Galactic to share those videos. And
Yeah.
it wasn't until like 6 months ago that I thought, oh, we should put them all together. And
Yeah.
the audio from that is from the microphone that was on my spacesuit, on the flight suit. So you could hear the rocket sounds and all that. And right when we cut off there, that air was coming on. It's just the rush of air as we're entering back into the atmosphere at like, 60,000 feet or so, 100,000 maybe. So, yeah, it's an extraordinary experience, and I'm so grateful to have had it. And there's so many aspects of it. There's so many parts of it, and just two things. We just have no idea in our general thinking and on our day-to-day stuff. Like, we have no idea that we're on this planet that's going around the sun, or or revolving and orbiting around the sun, and it's just such it's like the foundation of our existence, but we're not really well connected to it at all. And then the other exciting thing is that we're just at the cusp of this. We're just on the start of this era of commercial spaceflight. Virgin Galactic, they're building 2 spaceships. We'll find out more about the progress next week, but their plan is to have revenue flights at the 4th quarter of this year. So, a year from now, they could be flying, more and more regularly. And Blue Origin's already flown 92 different people into space. They're on a pause, but they expect to come back. And I think the idea of the 5 to 10 year landscape of dozens, hundreds of people going to space every year is extraordinary and a really good thing. And then plus who knows what's going to happen with Starship if they start flying people like they think they can. It's a huge change in a really positive way.
Yeah. I think I'm going to watch that video every morning. Every morning when I get up and I think, do I really want to raise more money for my flight? I'll watch that and I'll say, yeah, I really do. I really want to do that. But I'm hoping people watching can understand why we want to do this. And it really is about bringing everybody along. We are planning to have a documentary made about this flight. We do want to keep people informed about the progress. Now, the fundraiser ends in whatever, I've lost track of the days, but 30 days or 30 plus days. But then we don't really know how the flight's going to happen. We have made it carrier independent. And so, of course, Virgin Galactic is a real contender, just because they will start flying soon and their price point is reasonable as far as we can tell. But who knows? MoonDAO has been very good at raising funds for spaceflight. I don't know if everybody knows they've actually sent 2 people on Blue Origin flights. That's pretty impressive. And the great thing about this, whether it's a NASA astronaut, a cosmonaut, a commercial astronaut, it engages other people. And I just wanted to share that Ron invited me to his flight. And, it was really incredible because I had an incredibly difficult time getting there. It's in New Mexico, Spaceport America. And I had a hard time getting there because they had terrible storms in Dallas. I mean, terrible storms. The flights were delayed. We actually went out on the runway and sat there for an hour and then came back. And then they said to me, well, we can book you blah, 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 2 or 3 days. I said, no, I have to be there tomorrow. I can't remember all the days, but
yeah,
they were talking bookings that I would have missed your flight, Ron.
That's right. I remember you telling me that now. That's
yeah,
right.
I hopped on an Uber and I went to the other airport in Dallas and I got on Southwest. What I'm trying to say is it was really, really important to me to be there for your flight. I did not want to miss it, right? And it was really important to you to do the flight. And what I'm getting at is this is what makes us human. When we're committed to something, whether it's for ourselves or our friends, and when we really care about it. And I think a lot of us really care about spaceflight, and we care about the overview effect, and we want to share it broadly. And one of the things I think is fantastic about MoonDAO, as I've gotten to know them, it really is a space program. It's a space program for all of us, right? And not only have they flown 2 people, but they've done over 80 space-related projects that people have proposed and gotten funded, and it's done very democratically. And so it's really great to get caught up in the excitement of a launch, but it has much bigger ripple effects, I think.
Yeah, it's something that, well, the whole experience stays, and it's definitely transformational, you know. And there was a lot of thinking. I always wondered. I thought even, you know, as first Virgin Galactic first got started, it's like, wow, you know, all these commercial astronauts taking suborbital flights are going for very different reasons than, you know, the career astronauts working for NASA or ESA or JAXA, you know, Roscosmos. So I always thought that, you know, the commercial astronauts will come back with a lot of different takeaways.
Yeah, you ought to talk about some of the other things you're doing, because when somebody comes back from the flight, for example, I believe you started doing this before your flight, but the Space Education Summit, and also you're doing a lot of work to bring together and document the suborbital world and the suborbital flights. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, thanks in part to you, Frank, and bringing us together in the overview roundtable. Mark Wagner and Gitta Gorthy and I have been organizing and sponsoring twice a year Space Education Summit. And the next one's coming up April 17th. So that's a free online event all day. Frank's going to be there as our closing speaker and dialogue with Amy Imhoff. We're starting with a astronaut panel, including Fred Hayes from Apollo 13, Mark Forger-Stuckey from Virgin Galactic, and Hank Wolford from Blue Origin. So I'll put the link there in the chat. I'm not sure if that's posting out, but maybe Ryan needs to clear that. So it's if you just do a search for Space Education Summit, that'll bring you to our webpage, and you know, it's a free sign up. There's events all day, and you can come in and come and go as however works for you. So yeah, that's one, you know, thing that's been a great way to share this experience and just the awareness of, you know, us in space. And I started doing outreach related to space and astronomy back as a volunteer in 1995 through the San Francisco Amateur Astronomers and the Astronomical Society of the Pacific. So great, thanks, Ryan. So you know, those two organizations were great at doing public outreach, and I just found those something I love doing, and I've been pursuing that ever since. And now, having flown, you know, sharing the experiences has been a really valuable and rewarding thing for me.
I think you're getting a lot of energy from working with young people, aren't you?
Yeah, that's some of the best part. Because, you know, really, there's some important messages. It's not really about, oh, here's what I did, here's my flight, how exciting it was. It's sharing this awareness of, hey, we're on this planet together. You know, we're all these humans, these 8 billion of us, we're breathing one volume of air and we're sharing it. And for students, especially, I think it's important for them to know that they can have careers in space in some way. You know, when there's a space hotel, they're going to need, you know, engineers and, you know, people with advanced degrees, but they're going to need people that are nutritionists that are figuring out what's the best food for people to eat in space. They're going to need people that are, you know, fashion designers figuring out what's the best clothes for people to wear in space. They're going to need people in hospitality that are like working on a space hotel, taking care of people that go. So, you know, I think that's, you know, an important message for students out there, to know that, wow, you know, it's changing and they can be part of it in any number of different ways.
Yeah, I think that it's important for people to understand, and I don't think I'm not going to say we've done a poor job of this, but I think we have a lot more work to do to talk about moving from mission to what I call migration, or from mission to habitation, where the vision of large numbers of human beings living and working off-world out in the solar system. That is really the vision. And logically, everything that we need here, like you said, nutritionists, electricians, every function, we're even going to need lawyers.
Yeah.
Everything we have here, we're going to need out there. And I don't think it's gotten clear to people that the astronaut image, which is a very heroic image, is not the only way to think about future space dwellers and future space travelers. So that's an important message for us to start getting out. And the transition from the professional astronaut to the commercial astronaut is just the start. It's just the beginning. So I really want people to hear more about that. Also, the overview effect is as much about the Earth as it is outer space. And that's why we talk about bringing the overview effect down to Earth.
Yep.
What do we mean by that? It's the attitude, it's the understanding of what you just said. We're all in this together, and we don't act like that, you know? The International Space Station would not survive if all the astronauts from different countries on the ISS, if they acted like we act on the surface, that ISS would not function. Russians are there, Americans are there, the Japanese astronauts are there, people from all different countries are there, and they work together, and they work from a different attitude because they have to.
Yeah.
They know they have to. So I really think that, you know, we want to bring that attitude down here, and we want to have a different approach, not only psychologically, but through society, of that we really live on a spaceship. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
We live on a spaceship. It's floating through an infinite dark universe. And that kind of brings me back to a question about your flight. I like to talk about astronauts seeing the Earth from space, that is a distance, but in space. And I noticed you a couple of times you said, "Hello, Moon." What was that all about? Was that kind of realizing the Earth in space?
That's funny. Yeah, we'd known that we were going to be able to see the moon, you know, before in the days before in our training says, hey, the moon's going to be off on the right hand side. So that was part of our plan and of our movements inside this. We all at least want to have some moments out a window to see the moon. So yeah, it was that was just you know, it's like an old friend, you know. Constellations aren't like that for me, since learning the constellations when I was 6 or 7 or 8. You know, when Orion comes around every winter, it's like an old friend in the sky, and we get to say hello. So I just I've always felt a connection like that.
Yeah. Well, it's very hard because our experience doesn't confirm this when I say we're on a spaceship.
Yeah.
You know, you said we're on a planet. It's the same thing. But the point is, we're moving at a rapid rate of speed right now as you and I talk.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it isn't really true that astronauts go into space, because the Earth is in space. We're already in space. When you get to go on one of these missions, you get to see the truth about our situation. And that's the change.
Yeah.
Also, seeing no borders or boundaries between countries is a change. But
yeah,
it's as much seeing that we're on a planet and we're the crew of the spaceship, if you want to call it that. But Should we have some questions? Are there some questions?
Yeah, I thought of it as being like seeing Earth in its natural environment,
Yeah,
in a way that we don't see it, from the surface.
yeah. Yeah, you can't. I'm often quoting Sandy Magnus, one of the NASA astronauts I interviewed, and I asked her what was the one big takeaway from being an astronaut. And she said the difference between intellectual and experiential knowledge.
Yeah. That's a good point. Love that. I'm
Yeah.
going to see if this file I have here uploads.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you. Yeah, there you go.
There you are.
Yeah, that was captured from the video camera mounted at the window. We don't carry cameras or use our phones, during the flight for a few different. For me, what was striking is the thinness of the blue line and that atmosphere. It was just a vivid, vibrant, electric blue that was dynamic, and the whole planet felt alive. And looking at that atmosphere and knowing that everything in there is interconnected and interdependent really changed my understanding of myself and of humans. And we need to know that we're floating out there through space together. The Earth's going 67,000 miles an hour in its orbit around the sun, and the sun's traveling around the galaxy at a faster speed, and the galaxy's traveling through space at a faster speed than that. So everything's in motion all the time.
Yeah. I think a lot of people ask me, and maybe one benefit of a flight for me is I'll be able to answer for myself instead of answering for what Ron Rosano told me or what Sandy Magnus told me.
Yeah.
But a lot of people ask me, well, does it really persist? Does the experience, does it move into your world after you come back? So do you want to talk a little bit about what it's like post-flight for you? That was almost 3 years ago. It was 2.5 years ago. What happens afterward?
Yeah. Well, I think everybody has, with experience, I think everyone has a different kind of change that may happen, that may not. At different. I think we still have yet to sort out what are some of the kind of main themes that people are bringing back from commercial space flights. There's been about 130 people that have flown on Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic out of about 780 people in total that have been to space in all of history. So it's a growing percentage. But still, I think the overview effect is like a major part of that. And what people do with it varies. Ron Guerin had a great observation in that you really, what you remember from the flight starts at a high level and then diminishes over time. But the impact of the flight upon yourself starts low and increases over time. And the flight itself is really just the spark of further understanding, further thinking. So and I've been trying to do what his recommendation was push the intersection of those two lines as far up and as far out as you can. So giving talks and doing things like this, talking about it is really.
Yeah, another good quote from astronauts is, you don't go to space for yourself. And I think you talked about it before with Rusty Schweikert. He had a great metaphor, the sensing element of humanity. And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind. And as I contemplate the opportunity, I have to keep it in mind, Ron, because I know that at this moment, I know that at least 60 people have given funds or committed to funds or whatever to allow me to have this experience. So, it's not like I'm taking it out of my bank account. It's just, it's a collective effort, really, isn't it?
Yeah. If anyone wanted to see that, that thinking of from Rusty Schweikart, if you do search for No Frames, No Boundaries, and I think the link, you might be able to get that up on screen here in a minute. Yeah, no frames, no boundaries, and it's really like, we're doing this for all of us, for all of humanity.
So, do you have any advice for me, just in case the fundraiser succeeds? What should I do to get ready if we know for sure it's going to happen? I mean, right now for me, I've said this before, Ron. I know I can see Mount Everest. Up there, the goal. But we're at base camp, and so what I'm thinking about is that there are 6 more camps we have to get to. So, but let's say we get to the point where we know it's going to happen. How should I get ready?
Well, I think first, just believe it will happen. I think then that's true for anyone. If you think that you'd like to go to space, start searching around for the people that are working on things. Get to know VAST and the space station and what the space, or Axiom or Voyager or any of the companies that are building space stations. Keep up with them and see what they're doing. You never know when they might need an astronaut trainer like Beth Moses, who flew 6 times with Virgin Galactic and ended up going to space as part of her job. I think you've got a really clear perspective, better than most anyone ever had, about what's important and what to do. If anyone has the chance to do a weightless flight or centrifuge training, that's helpful. I did that. I did both of those things, and so I beforehand how my body was going to react to those conditions, and it made it easier for me to be more open. I wasn't concerned about getting sick. Think about not being afraid. Students have asked me, "Gee, were you afraid during the flight?" And I had to think about it. So, you know what? Actually, I don't remember being afraid. I just was so focused on just being open to the experience, let it bring to me whatever it's going to bring. And I didn't have any thinking at all about, gee, the pilot's doing the right thing, or like, what's that noise over there? I just and you can also, I did something that was really helpful. I made an audio recording of the sequence of events: release, rocket burn, cut off, apogee. And this was Beth's advice: is lay down on the ground with your feet on a chair and play through the audio. And I played through the audio just to get the sequence of those events kind of more fixed in my thinking, so that I kind of had a sense of, the timing of those. So we talked, Beth had brought up the idea of, gee, can we dilate time a little bit? Can we make, and I think there's even more research you could do on this. Are there ways to make short duration events seem longer?
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be a great thing to research.
Yeah. I think that because of my research from interviewing you and so many other people, the biggest challenge I have is that I know a lot. We've talked about this. William Shatner had a huge experience on Blue Origin. And I think it's because of his openness. And Edgar Mitchell told me when I interviewed him that he thought the difference in the Apollo astronauts that he worked with, at whether they had a major experience or a peak experience or not, was openness. And as we said earlier today, it's a contradiction in terms, in a way. Try to be open. It's just the sentence doesn't work. So But I do think preparation, you're talking about a lot of preparation. So you're not distracted when you hear a noise. You're not distracted when I don't know if everybody knows that the spaceship actually drops from a mothership and then it goes straight up. And there's a lot that happens on a Virgin flight in particular before you actually get to be weightless and look out the window. So I do think being prepared for all the potential distractions is a good thing to do, and I'm certainly going to do that. And I think again, not taking anything for granted is very important. That's a flip side of being open, I guess.
Yeah. There's another great quote from Dave Scott, who walked on the moon in Apollo 15, and he was at an exhibit of prints, and someone asked him, "Gee, Dave, some people say the moon looked kind of brown, some said look kind of orange. What do you think?" And he said, "You see what you expect to see.
Yeah.
You have to open up your mind." And I thought that was a great approach. I thought at first, I'd want to find, gee, can I see lakes and rivers and mountain ranges and horizon and identify things? And said, actually, no, let's not, go for things that I'm going to expect to see. Is just be open.
Well, one thing that I wrote about in the book was that the experience starts long before you fly.
Yeah.
And I have found that I will share. I'm not the person I was a year ago because I had a discussion with Pablo and Ryan, and they told me they were open, they were willing, and they wanted me to fly. I changed in that moment.
Yeah.
From, gosh, I wish I could go, to I can go. And it's been changing and changing and changing.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to think about it. It's like, change. It's not a probable, it's a will. Go.
Yeah. And we're kind of coming to the end of the hour. I wondered if you have any final thoughts for those who are watching and those who are going to watch. Do you have any advice to anyone out there who might be intrigued by what we're talking about, Ron?
I think for sure, just reach out. I think and look around. Virgin Galactic's flying, Blue Origin's flying, Axiome's flying. A lot of people are scientists that have flown on both of those carriers and with NASA. They've designed science experiments that need to fly in that suborbital regime. So it goes part of your job if you're connected in that kind of way, or developing that kind of thing. And here I see a question here in the comments.
Yeah, we got. I was gonna prompt if anyone has any more questions too. Definitely leave them in the comments for either Ron or Frank. But I'll get to Bruce's question here in a second. But if anyone else has any, please do let us know. I was gonna say, it's a great, fascinating conversation. I think, Ron, you're the second Virgin Galactic flyer that we've had, so it's great to just hear all these different experiences, and how the experience changes between different carriers. We had Alan Stern on a while back, but I guess I wanted to ask, I don't know, either you or Frank or both of you, how do you see, it seems like space is having a moment again. There's so much going on right now. It feels maybe akin to what we saw around the Demo 2 Inspiration 4 mission time, when Virgin and Blue were picking up suborbital flights. But we've got Project Hail Mary and the pop culture world. We've got Artemis 2 coming up here very shortly. We're on the, I think, 65th anniversary of Yuri Gagarin's flight coming up with Yuri's Night soon. There's just a lot of stuff happening right now. I guess how do you guys see the space industry right now at this moment in time, how it compares to, I don't know, excitement or interest in years past or decades past? What do you think?
Well, I think it's growing very dramatically. As you mentioned, it's getting out there in pop culture. I see Artemis 2 as very much potentially like Apollo 8. Apollo 8 gave us the beautiful Earthrise picture. That wasn't planned, it was just serendipity. I hope that Artemis 2 can produce some moments like that. You know, Jared Isaacman, who started out as I don't even know if you'd call him a commercial astronaut. He was a citizen astronaut, funded 2 of his own flights. He's now NASA administrator, and he is reshaping NASA in a way that is getting a lot of attention. And then commercial flight and what MoonDAO is doing it's really fitting right into that, Ryan. And it's all part of the same story, which is that this is an exciting future. If you want to be part of an exciting future, join us, because it's not going to go backward, it's going forward.
Yeah, the ignition event too this week, all the renewed focus on the moon base. I didn't even mention that, but that's another, exciting new moment in the space industry here.
Yeah, I don't even know if everybody got it, but NASA's got a plan. It's a plan they've never quite had before, but it's a moon base, and there's a lot more detail about that. I just think young people looking for a cause, this is it.
Yeah, combining AI, robotics, space travel, so many different sectors in one here. So super exciting moment to be involved in the space industry and what's to come.
Yeah, it really seems like the potential, the capability of space travel and doing things like moon bases is coming together now in a way that it really hasn't before, and it's really exciting. The commitment from the government to push forward like this and make it a priority seems unique and really exciting.
Yeah, I think even if NASA and what Jared's been painting, even if half of that can happen in the next 3 or 4 years, I mean that would be a huge leap forward for humans in space and moving off world. And they're talking about monthly launches of rovers and unmanned landers, and just really dramatically increasing the cadence of everything they're doing. I haven't had time to jump into everything that they've got planned, but it's really exciting. So but cool. I guess
let me give an answer to Bruce's question here. Did I feel like colors in space? Did I feel like I saw colors in space that cannot be seen on Earth? Not so much on the Earth's surface. I took one moment to look down, because when the spaceship's in its flight, the windows at the top of the cabin looked nadir at the surface of the Earth, and I took a moment to look at that, and they looked pretty normal. But what was really captivating, I went right back to the side window to see that blue line of atmosphere, along the edge, along the limb of the Earth, and that was a kind of blue that I don't think I've ever seen, and it could still have trouble describing it. The other color I saw that cannot be seen on Earth was black, and it was black, dead black, just like emptiness, nothing black. So that was definitely looking out, from from the spaceship was like a black you never see here.
That's looking out at the universe.
Yeah.
Like what Shatner said too, that blackness.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah. Our eyes are daytime adapted, so the pupils are closed down, and you can't see stars or planets. So until they start having night flights. So when that comes around, that'll be a new change.
Cool. That'll be cool.
Being able, seeing stars and planets at some point. We'll get there.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you so much. And I think, Frank, you got to run as well too. Is that right? But
I do have to bounce. I'm sorry. I think Ron and I could talk all day. You know, we could do an all day session with you guys. But yeah, before I go, I just want to I want to thank MoonDAO, Pablo, Ryan, and I want to thank all the contributors. We also have some organizations that are co-sponsors, and we'll highlight them in future meetings. And we're going to do our best to have really good conversations like this until the end of the campaign. And I believe we have someone lined up for April 2nd. And I remember it's an astronaut, but not who it is.
That's going to be Andy Sadwani from Galactic 7.
It is Andy Sadwani, and he is a terrific guy.
Message, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to thank Pablo and Ryan and MoonDAO for making this happen and having the vision to say, hey, actually, we can do this. We can send people to space, and it is important. So, huge shout out to you guys for all you do related to this. Carry on.
We really appreciate it, guys.
I wanted to just jump on just to say it was an awesome conversation. I just wanted to be here before you guys.
Thank you.
And then also, I guess while we're all here, just very briefly, I just want to do a quick update on the mission. So this is live on the site right now. We're at $143,000, which is 28% of the milestone. So pretty wild. This reflects both the on-chain contributions and contributions that have been committed off-chain. So pretty big update just as of this morning. So
we're getting closer.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having us.
Great. Let's keep going. Yeah.
Yep. Keep going. 32 days. We can get there.
Yeah.
We want all of you out there to be part of this. So please join us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you, Frank. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Here's Ron. See you in space, everybody.
See you. Bye, everyone.
All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, pretty awesome update here in terms of how close we are to the goal. 62 contributions so far. If you haven't contributed yet, any dollar amount helps us get closer to the goal and has you part of the mission, so you can help make decisions in terms of governance decisions and vote and participate. You're not just donating and sending your money off into space, so to speak, but you're actually joining the mission and you're going to be participating, in Frank White's mission and this mission for another person. So really great improvements in terms of the UI and UX that Pablo's been hard at work on over the past couple days or week or so. So great to see it coming together.
Yep. Yeah, it's a labor of love. lots of updates. Lots of it's pretty fun to play around with some of the new dev tools that are out there, all the AI stuff. So I'm having fun with it, but definitely I've been taking in a lot of input from people that have been contributing, and we're making the interfaces better and better every day. So
yeah, all the feedback, everyone's usage of the site and the feedback in terms of the donation flow or the voting flow for the second seat, all that is super helpful and super informative to us as we iterate and make improvements. Never-ending process, but every day a little better. So yeah. I guess thanks again to Ron and Frank. Obviously, for folks who missed it, definitely check out the Space Education Summit coming up on April 17th. I've joined in years past to have some really great events and conversations. I linked to that earlier, but you can just Google Space Education Summit, hear from a couple astronauts and career development and all sorts of things. They got really, really awesome guest speakers, and Frank White will be there. Ron will be there. Really cool all day kind of pre-conference online. So check that out. Donate to the campaign as well, moondao.com/Frank. 32 days to go, but
I also don't know if this was already mentioned, but Yuri's Night is coming up, and Frank will be down there too. So yeah, I think some of the information has been shared by Loretta through Space Kind and other groups. But yeah, it should be pretty fun and a good opportunity to hang out with Frank and be there on the ground for the Artemis launch. So.
Yeah, that'll be epic if those two events kind of coincide in terms of timing. It'll be perfect. But yeah, I've heard from a couple people that are planning to be there for Artemis.
Frank's birthday.
Big celebration. Yeah. But yeah, if you're planning to be there for Artemis, let us know and see if we can get some little MoonDAO crew together at least, and should be fun. I don't know if I'll be doing anything for Yuri's Night. I guess I could go to the Seattle event, but we'll see. But yeah.
Cool. All right, so I guess we have just one more update right on the projects. So let me share this other tab. So we're going to be doing another cycle of grants for this next quarter, upcoming quarter. So the projects from this quarter are wrapping up. They'll be doing their final reports the first week of April. And then we'll also be accepting new proposals from the community. What I'm showing here on my screen are some updates to the project system. You can view this on GitHub. It's on our documentation. They're pretty straightforward updates. One is just updating being very specific about how the reward is calculated. So it's the total project rewards, not the total quarterly rewards. There's a slight difference there. It's very technical, but just want to be very precise in the wording. And then also we're doing a Senate vote after the presentations, not before presentations at the town hall. That's actually something that we did last cycle, but it's updated here to reflect that. And then the last update is that we're going to be doing payments in stable coins instead of in Ethereum. And the reason being is that often Ethereum prices will fluctuate. They'll go either up or down. So by the time the project team receives it, they'll be getting a different amount than what they asked. And so this just makes it easy to denominate it in US dollars versus in Ethereum. Yeah, this should make things just a little bit easier. And then I believe that's okay. And then step 4 has kind of been broken up into 2. So there's the town hall presentation. And then we've kind of just factored out the vote that occurs afterwards and added a bit more specificity about exactly how the vote rolls out. This is the first time that we did the vote last quarter, so there's a lot that we've learned. So just being specific about how projects are funded, how those thresholds work, etc. So yeah, you guys can check this out on GitHub right now, review it, add comments, add thoughts, and then we'll be putting this through to the community. So yep, that's all I've got. Just some housekeeping before we go into this next cycle. So
yeah, we'll have if we put in these changes, it will, the number, our budget will change slightly, so we need to determine that. But last quarter we had on the order of, I think it was $15,000 or $16,000 available to fund projects with a max per project of about $6K. And yeah, we just funded 5 projects in the last cycle. Right now we're looking at April 9th for the submission date for projects. So again, like now is the time if you have any sort of cool space related project ideas, want some seed funding, and want to present that to the MoonDAO community, get those into ideation and start thinking about, what exactly that might look like, get feedback from community members and start forming your team so you're kind of ready to go.
And yeah. if your project didn't pass last quarter, go through the feedback that you received and resubmit it, incorporating some of that feedback. You never know. So there's some great projects that didn't get funded that I think should have. So yeah, we'll
We just had a lot of projects last time, 20 projects. So yeah, it'd be great to see some of those projects come back through the cycle and get a fresh eye. And yeah, it's competitive process, but we're excited for some of the work that was being done here in Q1. Really great projects going on. Yeah, excited to see what the community brings forward in Q2.
Cool. Well, that's all I had on the projects front, and then some updates with the UI and with the mission and the launchpad. So we've been hard at work, kind of incorporating a bunch of changes. So the website changes pretty quickly. I mean, I think we're making great progress on the raise right now. We had a really huge commitment that came through. Really, as of just yesterday, this figure has kind of jumped up quite a bit. Good momentum. We'll keep it going. We've got 32 days, so yeah.
More on the way that we're aware of, so we need to get those through. And there's a few, a few people trying to get their donations in as well now. So yeah, I think it's we're making great progress though.
Yeah, and it really is fly with Frank. So just want to be very clear that our aim is to get 2 seats, and there's an active competition right now. So after you contribute, you will receive overview tokens that you can then back different citizens. And I think we're at 20 citizens right now that are in the running.
21.
21. Okay.
Yep. So we're almost to our 25 person cap, if you will, our cutoff.
Yep.
But you can keep competing to make it into the top 25. There's no that'll be happening up through the fundraise.
Yeah. Here's some of the. I'm running this on localhost, so it's a little slower than in production. But
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the current standings, I guess. Yeah, we're at 21. And then once, like Ryan said, once we get to 25, that'll be the cutoff for the first round of selection. So we're reaching that point soon. So.
Yep, we've been getting more citizens coming through, registering organically, and also just for the competition. So it's great to see the numbers growing here too. I think we're up to 180 or so citizens in total, which is really cool. 34 countries around the world that I saw as of right now. So yeah, if you have any issues either donating or using the platform, again, you can use a debit card or Apple Pay. Tried to make it really easy. You don't need to know anything about what's going on the back end. But if you have any issues, don't hesitate to reach out to Pablo or myself, Ryan at MoonDAO.com, Pablo at MoonDAO.com, or just open a support ticket in the Discord as well, and we'll get you sorted out. So yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, that's all I wanted to show off. Just some of these new updates and then the project system stuff. So
yeah. I guess a lot of stuff going on. What'd you think of Project Hail Mary?
Oh, I thought it was good. I really did. I feel like it was somewhere in between like Interstellar and Guardians of the Galaxy. Like it was like a more fun version of as in. I feel like the science was pretty. It was like good, like things kind of tracked to some degree. There were some points where I was kind of like, okay, withhold disbelief. But then it was funny in the same way that like Guardians of the Galaxy was funny. It had its moments. So I really liked it. I thought it was a great movie. Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. Definitely had the Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. More focused on the buddy comedy aspect of it, and the bromance, I guess, if you will, between Rocky and Grace. But yeah, it was a really fun movie. The book obviously has more of the kind of the development of the alien language and the science and the realizations, but had to kind of gloss over that, I guess, in a 2.5-hour movie. So yeah, it's cool to just see all the interest, and hopefully it makes a lot of money and people continue to do these sorts of movies as opposed to just the 15th remake of something from the 80s.
Yeah, it's cool to see more space sci-fi. yeah, I'm excited also for the next Dune movie. I think that's gonna be
Yeah.
great. So yeah, lots of cool stuff happening in the culture, and then also the NASA announcement. I mean, that really kind of blindsided me, to be honest. I wasn't necessarily expecting that, and then it was like all of a sudden, wow, okay, well, this is really happening. Moon base, all right, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Incredible.
They didn't really give much lead time. I mean, they basically announced it. We're doing it tomorrow, right? I saw it like Monday, and we're gonna have
Yep.
this big announcement tomorrow. And yeah, whole shift, like Lunar Gateway kind of shelved or canned, and
Mhm.
yeah, whole renewed focus on the moon base. So really aligns well with what we've been talking about for 4 years or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
it's great to see. We've
We've
convinced them.
yeah, we did it. It was us, 100%. We hyperstitioned it. We
Exactly. All these
pulled
MoonDAO
the
town
strings.
halls,
Yeah.
MoonDAO documentation.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's incredible. I mean, I think it's definitely the right direction, and yeah, I think I was doing a little bit of kind of like research about like, okay, the budget, they're committing $20 billion over 7 years, which is really a fraction of the cost of what Apollo was. Apollo was like, I think over the course of like 14 years, it was in today's dollars, it was like, I don't know, $60 billion per year, like sustained for a period of 14 years. So not quite
Large
the
chunk
same
of the GDP.
scale. Yeah. Like the ambition is bigger, but the price point is lower, which is interesting. But then I guess with a lot of the public-private like partnership stuff, or where like you'll get a government contract and then you can go to private markets and raise money and say, hey, look, we have all this money committed from NASA. You can kind of start to multiply the amount that you can get as a private company. So I think if anything, it's great as just a renewed sort of like focus. Say, hey, this is the primary directive. This is what we're aiming for, and then a lot of companies and industry will kind of align around that specifically. And I think that's going to be the biggest impact. Like we already saw SpaceX and Blue Origin kind of like shift gears towards the moon.
They were, getting in line before the whole announcement came out, it looks like. But yeah, it's good to see it kind of go all in, so to speak, in this direction. Really focus on building that out and see if there are, how much the commercial enterprises and commercial interests can sustain a lunar development before they move their sites beyond to Mars. I always thought that was kind of a next logical step, as opposed to other directions that people have been going. But yeah, because we're just a couple days away, 3 days away from the moon, and it's just a lot more of a realistic kind of short-term goal that can be built out. And yeah, I think there's a lot of economic opportunities, obviously, that remain to be explored, whether helium-3 or what have you.
Yeah, mass drivers on the moon.
Seeing that all over his timeline.
Ever since Ian published his video, Answer Futurism, about mass drivers, sponsored by MoonDAO.
right.
Elon's been talking about it all the time, and yeah, we're seeing a bunch of people start to kind of see the vision, which is awesome.
Totally. I saw some tweet. Somebody was like, I can't prove it, but I know that SpaceX and NASA has been watching Anthrofuturism's videos.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'm sure Elon has been watching some of Ian's videos.
Totally. But cool. Yeah. Anything else we have to share this week?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just kind of need to ramp up some of the announcements around the projects. So if you're hearing this in this town hall right now, yeah, the project's deadline is April 9th. Is that correct?
That's what we're shooting for.
Yep, and you'll see that on social media and kind of published a little bit more over the next week. So yeah, if you're listening in this town hall, you've got a bit of a head start, but yeah, we're going to ramp up a bit more of the kind of notifications around that. So
totally, yeah. It's always helpful to, if you're considering creating a project or proposing a project rather, to go to moondao.com/projects. You can see what's currently active. You can also see what's been proposed in the past, or browse through our ideation channel on Discord to get an idea of kind of what people are talking about, what resonates with people. But yeah, we have a budget to fund some cool space projects here, and we'll be getting out more details shortly once we get this new proposal through, or we hit the 1st of April, I guess. We'll have the budget available. But either case, we will be funding a new round of projects. So
Yeah. Exciting.
Cool. All right.
Great. Well, I think that's all we have, right?
Yep, that's all we got. We will see everybody next week, April 2nd, same time, same place, for a conversation between Frank and Andy. So yeah, more conversation about space travel and the overview effect, which should be cool. Andy's involved in a lot of really cool things, so you definitely want to tune in for that. But awesome.
All right.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to MoonDAO, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.